Good morning, early game crew. It's Football Friday. I'm Elijah Campbell. He's Preston Thorne. She's Jen Jensen. And tomorrow in Columbia, Missouri, the other one, the not real one, the South Carolina Gamecocks will have a chance to avenge their first loss of the season against the Missouri Tigers. Last Saturday is over with. It's ancient history now. Tomorrow's a new day. It's a new week. You have another coach across the sideline who I think we can agree is one of the biggest villains in Gamecock lore right now. He wants to beat you so badly. He wants revenge because last year you ripped his heart out with 15 seconds left here at Williams-Brice Stadium. The Gamecocks are going in there with something to prove. That last Saturday was a fluke. There's a lot on the line here, Preston Thorne.
Big game. Obviously, this game was circled before the season started, but now I think many people had dubs for that Vandy game, and we was talking we're going to come in Mizzou, we're going to be 4-0, and then we're going to go to LSU, and then we're... Relax. We're not there. Doesn't mean that this game isn't huge. And as a matter of fact, last week we had a streak broken, but this week we have a chance to break a streak. Have not won in Como since 2017.
Long time.
That signifies its history. Yeah, that's history. So we have a chance to do something that we have not done in a long time. Last year we broke the Eli Dorkowitz curse last year by beating him. He was 5-0 against us before then. We've broken that. Now it's time to break the Como curse and win the Mayor's Cup. Keep the Mayor's Cup, I should say.
Keep it. They have it right now.
Keep it.
That's if you can probably find it because it is such an ugly trophy. It just blends in.
Now, you remember what we said on here. We said if you win this game, they no longer get to be Como anymore. The winner of this game gets to keep the name, is the real Columbia. You have to just be Seatown, Missouri or something like that.
So that means if Carolina loses this game.
We'll have to be Richland County.
Okay.
The Richland County Gamecocks.
I'll have to refer to the stadium over there at Williams-Brice as being in Richland County, South Carolina. I won't be able to use Columbia anymore.
Yeah, the Bluff Road football team. Yeah.
The team that plays for the University of South Carolina in the state of South Carolina.
Yes, a lot of things. The city of Columbia is on the line for this game.
I'm gonna have to. Yeah, if they lose this game, we're gonna have to eliminate Columbia from our lexicon on this show.
It's done
forever. Not forever. Until next year.
Until next year. Yeah.
That's assuming you play them because we're gonna find out who the permanent.
Those are the stakes. That's how high the stakes are for this game.
Yeah, they're pretty high. They're pretty high, and I'm sure everybody was waiting to see what that availability report. I don't know if there's ever been more anxiety over a Gamecock availability report than what we've had this week. Now, yesterday, we were talking about Lenora Sellers being listed as questionable. Today, because this was posted at 8:10 last night, here's the report. Out for the Gamecocks, tight end Michael Smith and defensive back Judge Collier. Probable for the Gamecocks, defensive back DQ Smith, who was not on the availability report yesterday. Wide receiver Mazio Bennett Jr. And lastly, under probable, quarterback number 16, Lenora Sellers. Preston Thorne, is this really going to happen? Is he really going to end up playing on Saturday?
He's moving up the charts. It's trending in the right direction. He didn't go backwards. And so we can assume that he's improving. Symptoms are lessening. He's practiced more. He's done more activity with the team. I guess we're still not in a position to say that he's going to play. At least I can't, and I don't think you have any other inside knowledge.
Nope, as much as we've tried.
So we can all just say things are trending in the right direction.
That's certain. We can definitely put two and two together.
He's better than he was.
Probable can also mean a lot of things, right? Mm-hmm. If I have a 51% chance of being able to do something, it's close to a toss-up, but I am probably going to get whatever it is I'm trying to get done. 51% is probable. 50% is questionable. Everything below that I would consider doubtful. But it certainly looks like there is what probable tells me is that more likely than not, that person is playing. But I will not put it out of the equation. I'm also not putting out of the equation gamesmanship, because we talked about the history between these two teams. We don't have to think back very far, Preston Thorne. If you remember the week leading up to the Missouri game last year, where Brady Cook had an ankle injury, and he missed the prior two games, prior game and a half. Didn't play the second half against Alabama where they were getting killed. But Drew Pine played the entire game against Oklahoma. Brady Cook was listed as doubtful for most of the week. And I prepared that entire week for Drew Pine to be playing that football game. Guess who didn't play that football game? That would be one Drew Pine, U-Haul All-American, check his birth certificate favorite. Brady Cook started and played that entire game.
Eli got you, huh?
Eli got me.
He's like,
Dorkwitz got me.
He's like, there's some young whippersnapper who does an afternoon show in Columbia. We're going to get him.
We're going to get him.
He's sending out false information to the fan base. We got him.
We got him right where we want him. Oh, he's getting that fan base hopeful. He's getting them hopeful. But nope. I took the bait. Is this maybe the same type of gamesmanship? Maybe to get them to prepare for Lenoris, and then if Lenoris isn't cleared to play, then Luke Doty goes out there and they run something completely different. Maybe. I'm not ruling that either, because it does say probable on the availability report, but it's one of those things I will fully believe it once I see it on the field, once I see him taking the first snaps. Or maybe he's cleared to play, he makes the trip to Columbia, Missouri, and he's still not starting.
Break in case of emergency.
Also a possibility.
That's a possibility. There might be something along those lines that might be a case. Sparingly might be an idea. Packages could be an idea. Again, this is all really speculation because we don't know. So your guesses are unfortunately as good as ours.
Yep.
Unfortunately, but the big thing about that is that Missouri is preparing as if he's starting and playing,
Yep.
and so they're not making any type of different preparation or doing anything different in practice. They are preparing as if Lenoris is going to be the starter and playing the whole game.
They've been pretty vocal about that being their strategy as well. We'll go to our AAA heating and air phone lines. Ernest is on the line. Ernest, good morning. Welcome to the early game, buddy. I haven't heard from you in a while.
Good morning, Elijah, Preston, Jen. First of all, still thoughts and prayers out to Connor Shaw and his family. But something I would like to see at Missouri is what I call our triple threat in the backfield. If you have Faison to the left, Sellers go out there as the quarterback in the center, and let's put out to the right Luke Doty. And if you do a snap to Doty, you got plenty of options because now Sellers is a runner.
I mean,
and I'll hang up and listen.
It wouldn't be the first time I've seen a two-quarterback thing played.
It wouldn't be the first time Missouri's seen a two-quarterback situation, right?
Because Kansas likes to do that. Now, unfortunately, I did not see one two-quarterback snap from Kansas whenever I went back and watched that game, which is so unfortunate because the coolest thing that Lance Leipold has ever done, outside of win football games at places you're not supposed to win football games like Buffalo and Kansas.
So that's something they've prepared for. They have that in their defensive package. Like, hey, if they come out with the two-quarterback package, we are prepared for it. And here's the thing, that is creative. That is wildly off the charts as far as creativity is concerned. I don't think that's Mike Shula's MO.
Yeah.
As far as getting wacky on the play calling, right? So I don't see anything along those lines. But to build on that, I've been championing the idea of hey, maybe there should be some differentiation for the package between if it was going to be Luke Doty as opposed to if it's going to be Lenoris, as far as maybe adding in some more triple option game, adding in some more ROPs, as our boy Ray said, right? We need it. I do think this is a game where I would say, hey, why not?
at this point, anything is a why not,
Yeah.
right? I don't think any idea is a bad idea at this point in time because you're trying to get your offense going. That's one thing that's on the line for South Carolina in this game is you got to prove it, right? You got hit in the mouth at home against Vanderbilt. You have much harder SEC games ahead of you. This is a tough one. This is a team in Missouri that has gotten themselves in the top 25 and has proven that even against average to below average competition can put up some absurd offensive numbers. I think what they are as a defense as a whole is still TBD, but you have a chance to prove it in a game. But it also proved that you can score more than 17 points on offense against anyone, right? Because if you can't do that, I don't know how good you feel about your chances of going into the SEC and winning multiple games because your margin for error is going to be slimmer if you just cannot move the ball. The defense can only save you so much, right? Unless you are a defense like 2002 Buccaneers that let Brad Johnson help win you a Super Bowl, then you have to be exceptional on defense. I think the defense will play really well tomorrow. We'll get into them specifically a little later. But in terms of what's on the line, what to prove for South Carolina is that you can be an offense that scores points. We've seen you do it in this very game last year with the same quarterback that we're talking about, whether or not he plays, carved up Missouri's defense. He threw for 300 plus. They had the game-winning touchdown on a beautifully drawn-up play. They got to that position because Dale Von Campbell broke free and had a massive explosive not touchdown reception, but a reception that got you into the red zone. You won that game last year because Lenore Sellers beat the other team through the air. You got to be able to prove that you can beat somebody through the air and be able to score more than 17 points. Because if not, you wouldn't have won that game last year.
Yeah, and I think that's a huge point to bring up because as fun as that game was, and it was one of the best games we've ever been a part of as a fan base, it was awesome. Lenoris was incredible that game.
Superman.
I mean, a heroic effort as far as the statistics, the game management, just being the dude on the field. That was an amazing effort. I don't know if you could count on that type of effort from anybody on repeat. I had the numbers written out, 21 for 30, 353, 5 touchdowns. That's a lifetime type of game, and he had that. He had that in the moment when they needed it. You hope that you don't need that type of performance to win this game. But Eli Drinkwitz is a play caller, and it's tough to keep that type of play caller bottled up for whole games.
Especially with the weapons they have. They have a lot of weapons, right? And they have who I believe to be, in the 2025 season, after 3 full weeks of college football being played, the best running back in America. He will get his to some degree, right? They'll move the chains to a degree. If you can keep him out of the end zone, holding the points, holding the field goals, holding the field goal attempts, because what I see on this availability report is Blake Craig, the kicker for Missouri, very reliable, will not be playing. Missouri's not on option 1 at kicker. If you can hold them to field goals and make them have to try some 35 to 45-yarders, there's a good chance they can miss because there's some inexperience there. Then maybe you can keep yourself in this game. But the defense is going to have their hands full with what Missouri does on offense, which is a lot of creative, really good stuff because, again, you mentioned it, Eli Drinkwitz is a really good play caller. You got to be able to prove that you can score with them and that you can stay in a game where you're playing another highly potent offense. There's so much on the line in this game, but we'll continue the discussion with South Carolina's offense for when the Gamecocks have the ball. What's the pathway to putting up more than 17 points and scoring the required total that will be needed to win this game? Preston and I break that down next.
Preston here for our friends at Absolute Glass, the premier glass company of the Midlands, offering auto, home, and business glass repair. So if your glass is damaged, shattered, cracked, or broken, they can handle the job. Cracked windshield? No problem. They'll come out to your location and they'll replace it for you, usually for free, and they'll work directly with the insurance to take away the headache. That's right. They'll come out to wherever you are, school, home, work, it does not matter. Absolute Glass will come out to you and take care of the job for you. Now, if you're at home, you're looking to increase the value of your home, you could do that with new windows or mirrors, and Absolute Glass will take care of that for you too. Windows, mirrors, shower enclosures. Say it all the time. If you can see through it, Ray and Marianne at Absolute Glass can do it. So check them out online at AbsoluteGlassInc.com. That's online at AbsoluteGlassInc.com.
Second down and 3. 22 seconds remaining. 2 timeouts. Blitz by Missouri. Shuffle pass inside. Sanders inside the 10. 5. Rocket going for it. Touchdown Carolina. Touchdown Rocket Sanders. From 15 yards out. The Gamecocks win it.
Yeah!
Are you kidding me?
Yeah, no, hell no, we just scored.
Oh my gosh, shuffle pass.
Woo!
Listen to this crowd.
15 seconds to go, guys. 15 seconds to go.
What an effort by Sanders.
Whoa, you're right.
Oh my gosh, she got hit around the 10.
Like they used to say at the State Fair, meet me at the Rocket.
Yes, launch one. He lifted off there.
Launch them. That's how the game ended last time these two teams met in what was an instant classic.
Instant classic. Who knew nostalgia could set in so quickly? It's like, oh man, those are the good old days. So quickly. What a call. What a call.
I mean,
Todd and Tommy at the top of their games.
At that peak, Todd and Tommy,
For sure.
right there, peak. But you know what was required for them to win that game? Scoring more than 30 points.
Yeah.
Offense was clicking. Now, that was November. They had time to be able to do it, but that was the one thing going into this year that we thought would be maybe the most set part, right? The question marks were on defense because of all that you had to replace. But right now, the opposite has happened. We feel good about the defense. I mean, I know they fail to tackle the way they need to and get off the field on third down against Vanderbilt, but I still like what they have talent-wise to be able to go into Como and be able to limit Missouri enough to keep you in this game. Can the offense take advantage? Can they take advantage of a close game and make the plays needed to win the game? That's what we're focusing on right now. And to me, I wrote down a few things that I think really need to happen in order for them to score the adequate amount of points to win this game. And the first thing is you got to have plus plays on first down. You have to, right? This is usually where we say run the ball, and you got to be able to run the ball well. But if you're not, and the offensive line is not up for it in the run game, you got to find ways or on first down where you can make it 2nd and 6. Or you can make it 2nd and 5. Or just give yourself a chance to move the chains and sustain some long drives. You might have to take a page out of the Vanderbilt playbook where long drives are winning drives. Vanderbilt's scoring, so a couple of their scoring drives on Saturday eclipsed 5 minutes long. That's a third of a quarter. There's a reason South Carolina only had 4 drives in the first half last Saturday. It's because Vanderbilt hoarded possession. You might have to do that. This might be a game where you have to do that, especially when you're playing an offense that even against good defenses, I think will still be able to score points.
You know, we talked about this being Mike Schuler's calling card being that he's a pro-style offense. We also talked that idea that he worked with Josh Allen and the Buffalo Bills. We've said that. I watched that game last night, and when I watched Josh Allen play quarterback, I saw a ton of calls from Joe Brady, the OC, getting the ball in and out of Josh's hands very quickly through the screen game. They ran a lot of different, very creative with the screen game, whether it was getting into James Cook, getting into the wide receivers on the outside. They did a lot of things early downs in a pro-style offense, with my air quotes, that did not resemble what we thought of as a pro-style offense. And so that goes to your prescription of, can you get, if Norris is playing, another if, you want to try and protect him as much as possible. That could happen with the screen game. Get the ball out of his hands quickly. Get it into the playmakers that we've heard about from the wide receivers so much. It was just struck me watching that game, what I did before I fell asleep. It struck me watching what the things that they were attempting to do on offense last night.
With Josh Allen.
Josh Allen, who is, I think, is the prototype.
Yeah, who is the reigning NFL MVP.
Correct.
Right? The ball's getting in and out of his hands. To me, a screen pass on first down, if well blocked, is every bit as efficient as a run on first down, right? I know a lot of coaches, offensive coordinators, are married to the idea of running the ball on first down, and if you can do it, that's fine. If you're picking up 5 yards a clip, that's fine. But the one thing I guess we do know about Missouri's defense is the defensive front is really good. You're not going to have 4 or 5 seconds to drop back and pass, right? They have really good edge rushers. One way to negate that is by getting the ball out quick. and that's the third thing I had written down here, is non-Nick Harbor pass catchers, stand up.
Yeah.
You're going to have to be effective in this game. Not just used and utilized, they have to be effective, right? We saw Mazio Bennett is probable. Well, Mazio Bennett plays, he needs to see the ball in space. You need to have somebody take the pressure off Nick Harbor, because I guarantee you if Missouri's watching film and they're watching what Vanderbilt did to Nick Harbor to make sure he doesn't beat them over the top, they're going to have a lot of attention on him. Nick Harbor commands that attention because of the type of athlete he is. You must be able to get the ball out in space to guys who are playmakers. You need Jared Brown to be able to make a move with the ball once you get it out to his hands on the perimeter. Same thing for Mazio Bennett. We'll need to see it from Donovan Murph. I mean, Donovan Murph has been your second most reliable receiver so far this season. You're going to have to see more from him, too. Everybody's going to have to be good once the ball's in their hands.
You saying that you said that stepping up, and I was just going back and looking at the highlights from the game last year. And just looking at the highlights, you had Josh Simon with the catch, Gage Larvadain with the catch, Nick Harbor with the catch, Brady Hunt with the catch, Mazio Bennett with the catch, Jared Brown with the touchdown, Rocket with catches. The ball was spread around amongst the whole receiving corps last year.
Dale Von Campbell had the two biggest plays.
I left him out
in that game that didn't score.
So when you say that, the non-Nick Harbors need to step up, that is absolutely a fact from what the success was last year. The reason why North was able to get the 353 was because he was throwing and spreading the ball around to all of this. Now, whether that was through progression or play design, I don't know, but it happened.
It happened. And you couldn't just focus on one receiver in that game because everybody was giving you the business, right? And that's what needs to happen on Saturday or tomorrow. Everybody's going to have to be able to be a threat with the ball.
Gage Larvadain, an NFL player, by the way.
Right? He is on an NFL roster. Gage Larvadain is. Last year, too, one of the big plays in that first half, Nick Harbor, a long touchdown pass.
Mm-hmm.
So Missouri's not a stranger to what Nick can do. And I guarantee you, Eli's sitting in on those defensive meetings and say, I don't want that guy to beat me. He beat Virginia Tech. He helped beat us last year. I don't want that guy to be the one to beat us. I'm sure they're making it a point of emphasis to make the other receivers have to beat them. They can maybe live with that. Those guys are going to have to get involved because they're going to get a lot of opportunities.
Yeah, I guess I hadn't considered that until you just said that, but you're right, because this is something that the narrative coming into the season was all we heard about was the depth from the receiving corps.
Mm-hmm.
How many of these guys are going to make plays? The freshmen that are stepping in. We've heard that. We heard that a lot. We don't know who's going to be able to get the ball. It might be this guy. Well, somebody has to take the reins. And this is a big game for somebody to step up, especially when you have a quarterback situation who either A, is coming off of an injury, or B, is a backup quarterback. Both of those situations require other spots to step up. And I hadn't thought about it till you just said it, but, yeah, this is the wide receiver game where they need to step up and prove why we heard all of that conversation in the preseason.
Be the Denny Green Award this week.
Mm-hmm.
Have those receivers make a declarative statement on Saturday that we are who you thought we were. They need that. If they don't have that, then you're probably looking at a pathway to 17 points or less once again. But what happens when Missouri has the ball? What does this defense need to do to keep Missouri out of the end zone? We break that one down next.
All right, y'all, it's week 4. What are you waiting on? Call the folks at Integrated Media. Get your outdoor setup ready so now you can get ready to enjoy the beautiful weather that we are about to have. We're about to roll into peak football watching weather, peak outdoor season, and you can get all of that taken care of with the folks from Integrated Media. Get your Samsung Terrace TVs, Sonos outdoor speakers for TV and music, Wi-Fi that works indoors and outdoors, so you can be watching all of these great games on all your devices without having to worry about lag time or buffering or anything like that. From home theater setup to adjusting your thermostat, monitoring your security systems from your cell phone, Integrated Media is the company that you need to call. Call Nathan and Michael at 803-948-8327. That's 803-948-8327. or you can reach them online at integratedmediainc.com. That's online at integratedmediainc.com.
He's back. Cook in the gun. 9 seconds remaining. Throwing underneath. And that's picked off if it's good. He made the catch and Carolina's got the football. Oh my goodness, Brady Cook. with his second interception on the year, and this could seal it with 4 seconds to go. Jalen Kilgore with his 4th pick of the season.
Well, I'm not sure they're I'm not sure they're calling it a pick because no one marked where the ball was. No, I guess I'm sorry. The guy on the other side did. Yes, he did. I stand corrected. Yes.
They certainly called it one by Kilgore. Cook went down the middle of the field to his tight end. And they're going to review this as a catch. Oh, my goodness. What a ball game here.
Oh, man. Jalen Kilgore picking off Brady Cook to seal the deal against Missouri last season. And that's one thing that I think this Gamecock team really must do against Missouri is, one, it's a two-pronged thing here, Preston Thorne. One is make Bo Prabula put the ball in the air because he's still a young quarterback. This is his first season starting. This is his first ever SEC game. This is the first time he has had to line up in his career, even at Penn State, against an SEC defense.
Okay.
Trick him. Make him put the ball in the air and trick him a few times. Make him think he can throw it into some tight windows. Because as much as I was impressed with Bo Prabula in the 3 games I've watched this year, he's not afraid to put it in tight windows. That kid trusts his arm a lot. Make him trust his arm. Make him make some bad decisions. And when he does make some bad decisions, which he will, make him pay for it.
Now, and Bo, when he was at Penn State, was the Tim Tebow quarterback, right?
Yeah, the freshman Tim Tebow.
He was the guy that came in, short yardage, ran the ball. So he's a tough runner. He does trust his arm, but what is that trust worth? Because we haven't seen a lot of pressure be put on him as far as him having to make throws or him having to make big-time throws. Why hasn't he had to make a lot of big-time throws? Because of the running game. They've been able to control the tempo, control the rhythm, control everything based on Ahmad Hardy being able to control the running game. And so it all, again, it sounds cliche. We say it all again. And they say it in their indoor facility, run the ball, stop the run. And this is the occasion where you have to be able to stop the run.
I don't think just from a gaining yardage, perspective, you're just going to flat out outgain them, right? Like you're not going to win a rushing battle, 250 rushing yards to 200, right? I don't foresee that happening. I can see a situation or a scenario where Carolina on offense runs the ball well, but Missouri runs it better. You have to get it to where you at least limit them as much as possible. Again, I'm a believer that Ahmad Hardy's going to get his. I think he is that good of a running back. I think he can get his. But on passing downs, because you will force them into some 3rd and longs, make him make bad decisions. Because Bo Prabula against Kansas on a few instances got away with it. There was a lot of getting away with it against Kansas. But that should be the difference between a Kansas defense and a South Carolina Gamecock Clayton White defensive coordinated, coached defense, is that when you do put the ball in the air in a questionable situation, you don't get away with it. As we heard on that interception from Brady Cook, as we heard many times last year with the defense that we had, opposing quarterbacks could not get away with it, especially when pressured. And what did we mention yesterday? Bo Prabula, over 25% of his pressures turn into sacks. If you get to him a couple times early and he gets sacked once or twice early and he realizes that internal clock in his head needs to start ticking a little faster, then there's going to be less thinking and just more throwing and doing some of the same stuff that he didn't get away with against Kansas.
Yeah, and so not you're letting him get away with it. If he puts it in the tight window and you get your hands on it, you're going to have to pick it. Not going to have PBUs this week. The other part, and this is, I don't know, this can make you feel better or worse. It's just the numbers. The Gamecocks have missed 14 tackles all season. 10 of them were last week. So you can say that was an outlier. This team is fundamentally sound as far as defense is concerned. Or you might say, was that the beginning of a trend? And when they're playing SEC teams. This is a flashpoint, though, because prior to last week, they were very sound in tackling. After last week, I imagine they did a lot of fundamentals tackling this week because when a team is trying to stop them from getting those extra yards, especially with Ahmad Hardy, because what was his number? He has a crazy number at yards after contact. What is it?
He's averaging over 5 yards after contact each run. He's got 463 total yards this year. 340 have come after contact.
Yeah, so that's all missed tackles, guys not wrapping up, not getting a lot of hats to the ball. All the things you hear about defense, you're going to have to do that to try and limit his impact on the game.
Brent on the Firehouse Subs text line nails it with the last one here. He says, got to win turnover battle for sure. No silly penalties, and receivers step up are a must this week. And get off the field on third down. That is a massive one because that was really what kept you from being able to limit Vanderbilt's scoring output last week. I don't know if you're winning this game. Actually, I don't think you're winning this game if Missouri scores 31. But if you want to keep them in that 17 to 24 range, which then I think then you're giving yourself a chance to win it, right? I think that'd be good enough for your offense to get a chance to win it. You have to get off the field on third down. And why didn't they get off the field on third down? Tackling. One player specifically to watch for in terms of how they break tackles, not just Ahmad Hardy. That's a challenge on its own. Tight end Brett Norfleet loves to hurdle. That man has not seen an opportunity to hurdle somebody that he didn't like and go for. If he catches the ball out in the flat, do not go too low. He will jump over you.
He's going to jump over you.
Yeah. He's one of those guys right there. You got to make him feel it a couple times, up high a little bit.
Yeah, all it takes is one good time, and you can put an end to that.
Yeah.
Like you catch him old school wrestling, suplex a little bit. You might get 15, but it might be worth it.
He's not going to hurdle you again.
Right.
But that's the one thing. I mean, tackling was an issue against Vanderbilt. It cannot be against Missouri if you want to give your offense a chance to win this.
Again, like I said, flashpoint to up to that point, they had missed 4 tackles in 2 games. That's crazy. That means
great.
that they were doing an excellent job of tackling. They had a bad game against Vandy for probably several different reasons. What's going to be their answer to that? Do they return back to the team that they were, or is that a trend of how they tackle in the SEC? I think that's to be determined.
That's one thing that you get to prove in this game is, can you be a defense that is good against really good offenses? Unfortunately, we learned Virginia Tech was a disaster from the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
Can you prove it against an offense that is not a disaster right now? Mm-hmm. And I think that's a big opportunity that they have at hand that they'll get to prove on Saturday. We've talked offense, we've talked defense, but what about the third phase, special teams? Because in this game, both teams, in terms of their kicker situation, awfully interesting. Who has the edge? Well, we'll try to figure that out next. Special teams, the underrated third phase of football. And Lawyer Lisa is helping you potentially cash in on special teams because the special teams contest is back. And if special teams scores a touchdown, you could win now up to $200. That's what the pot's at right now. We finally had a game on Saturday where Vicari Swain did not take a punt to the house, but he's at that point now, ladies and gentlemen, where every time he touches the ball, you hold your breath. I will say the most fun part, there weren't a ton of fun parts of that game on Saturday, but when Vicari Swain caught that punt, I think everybody was on the edge of their seat waiting for something to happen. And that play was not very far away from being broken open.
Absolutely. Absolutely. One of my favorite analytics to measure a dude. How long do you hold your breath as the ball is getting when he's getting the ball?
That's right. Yeah, how much anticipation builds inside you.
Yeah.
Vicari Swain is
good
there.
or bad, because there's, when there's dudes on the other team, you're like, please don't kick him the ball, please don't kick him the ball, please don't kick him the ball.
And it's so much different now that you can possibly win money from it. But, of course, you can't have that excitement of having the chance to win $200 if you don't register. So register at 1075thegame.com. I think we feel good about what Vicari Swain does when the ball's in his hand on punt returns. But the special teams battle in this game will be won and lost at the place kicker position. Because Missouri does not have their normal kicker, Blake Craig. He is out for the game. And, of course, this year he was 3 for 3 on extra points, 2 for 2 on field goals. Robert Meyer is going to be the kicker for Missouri. So far this year, he has missed an extra point. He has missed a field goal. So there's a chance that if you force Missouri into field goal attempts, they can leave some points on the table. It's possible. But there's also a chance you can leave points on the table because we don't know on any given day who the kicker will be. Joe DeCamillis admitted as such earlier this week where he said, well, we really see after warm-ups because you could have assumed once you got out 50 yards that Mason Love was the kicker. Well, that was the only time that they attempted a field goal in that game. They missed it. It was 50-plus yards, so it was asked by David Cloninger from the Post and Courier if Mason Love is the long-range field goal kicker, and Joe D said no. They go through warm-ups and they make a determination at that point. And I don't love the unknowingness. It doesn't sound like a confident situation with the place kicker right now. So this game on Saturday, we'll have two teams with unsure kicking prospects. Vibes.
Yeah. I don't know whether this is gamesmanship or if he's in fact saying this, but that doesn't feel good to me.
No.
And just even from the perspective of a player, you'd like to know your role going into the game. You feel like what they've said all throughout this week, one of the themes that the coaches have said is that practice matters.
Mm-hmm.
Well, if practice matters, and if I made more kicks, then I should be the person who gets the opportunity to kick. Or if I made less kicks, then I should know that, hey, maybe next week will be my turn. I kind of don't even mind if it's week to week. Hey, the dude who makes more kicks this week, you kick on Saturday. That's cool. But before the game, that feels, I don't love that. But
I don't.
But again, Joe D's had a long career in special teams, so I'll roll with that. But I don't. That doesn't feel good to me.
I think the kicking position is going to be of massive importance, especially if your offense can't finish drives. And that's kind of been the issue right now. You're one of the worst teams in college football when it gets to getting into the red zone and scoring touchdowns, right? You got past the 50 7 times on Saturday. You got into what I would consider normal college kicker field goal range, which is the opposing team's 35. That's a 52-yard field goal. You got there 5 different times, but only attempted 1 field goal. You got there 5 times and only scored 1 touchdown. There's a chance that you are able to move the ball into Missouri territory because the offense, as much as they've struggled, did move the ball better. But moving the ball is only worth as much as you're able to take advantage of your movement with the ball. The field goal kickers help you take advantage to a smaller degree of moving the ball, and if you don't feel good about them making field goals, then you're going to be on edge every time you do get into the other team's 35.
To that point, how much does that affect play calling on both sides of offense? Do you see more attempts to go for it on fourth down? Do you see more attempts on third down to try and just get to the fourth down so you can go for it? I wonder if the coaches are going to be a little bit hesitant to play for a field goal instead of just saying, let me just put my offense out there.
I think so. I think you'll see a lot of going for it on fourth down.
In that 35 to 45 range?
Yep. Until you get to the opponent's 25, I think you will see more of a reluctance to kick field goals and more willingness to roll the dice on going for it, which I think is perfectly fine. That's kind of been my philosophy.
Especially us as underdogs, too.
Oh, yeah. Because, I mean, even if you had Adam Vinatieri at kicker, you probably go into this game realizing you're not going to win this game by stacking field goals. You win this game by stacking touchdowns on the road. So you don't want to have to rely upon your kickers, and I don't think they're going to. I think they're going to end up going for it on fourth because they know that you're going to have to be able to tap into some offensive firepower to win this game. Missouri's where it gets really interesting, too, because they probably feel like they might be a little more comfortable rolling the dice on attempting a field goal on a 4th and 8 on South Carolina's 35. But that's something to watch for in this game. And special teams. And, of course, if Vicari Swain gets a chance to take one to the house. And whether or not Missouri actually punts to him. That is a whole other question on its own. Hour number 1 is in the books. Hour number 2 coming up. And maybe the most intriguing game in the SEC isn't just a revenge game for one of the quarterbacks. We'll tell you why coming up next. This week, my girlfriend and I were a victim. We were victims of the stain on the carpet. But it's not a mystery stain. We knew where it came from. It came from chocolate gelato. But we're not as equipped to be able to take care of the best we made on the carpet than Zero Res is, right? Zero Res. Their patented cleaning process uses no harsh chemicals. It's a clean that's safe for myself, my family, and my pets. Everybody wants that, right? And even if you step on a carpet, or on your carpet and it felt gummy and matted down, it's gross. Or a stain that you didn't realize was there and you step in it. You don't want that because then you have to clean your foot too. You have to clean everything else. It only tracks more stuff throughout the house. But Zero Res can take care of that for you. And this month, the more you clean, the more you can save. Get 3 rooms for $119, 4 for $144, and 5 for just $169. Save up to $30 and schedule Zero Res today online at ZeroResColumbia.com. Zero Res, spell it backwards or forwards. It's the right way to clean.
Go Gamecocks. Lord, have mercy on us today, Lord. Go Gamecocks.
We absolutely can. To start hour number 2 of the early game, I'm Elijah Campbell. He's Preston Thorne. She's Jen Jensen. That was the legend, Gamecock Larry. And you already know what he would think about this game. Doesn't matter what happened last Saturday, because last Saturday's ancient history, baby.
Yes.
That's over with.
Yes, by today he'd be back on the hill. Now Monday and Tuesday he would have had some reservations and he would have had some things to say. But by today, Friday, he'd be back. He'd be ready to go.
Back. He'd be so back. That optimism would be so back. And you know what he'd probably tell you too? This is when they surprise you.
Mm-hmm.
This is when the Gamecocks surprise you. This is when you're feeling the worst about them. That's usually when they surprise you. And there has been, in the Shane Beamer era, some precedent of following up one of what you would consider his worst losses to be with really good performances. Old enough to remember 2022, Preston Thorne, where you got smacked up in the swamp 38-6.
Mm-hmm.
And then you crushed Tennessee's college football playoff hopes. And then the next week you followed up by crushing Clemson's college football playoff hopes. And I remember last year sitting in Williams-Brice Stadium after getting crushed by Ole Miss 27-3 thinking, how are they going to score on anybody? And then you were a 2-point conversion away from taking the Alabama game to overtime. And then the rest of that season is history. So if we're putting garnet goggles on this early in the morning, that's something you could certainly use. Something that you could certainly take away from right there. A loaded slate. I feel like we always have great slates in the college football schedule.
It seems like that's what it's been.
And now we're getting into full-on hardcore SEC play. The non-conference games phasing out. It's all conference football for here on out, especially for South Carolina, who has, including this weekend, 7 more SEC games, all consecutively. But the game of the week in the SEC, to me, is big, not for the reasons everybody else is saying it's big. Because, yes, Auburn and Oklahoma is a revenge game for Jackson Arnold.
That's fun.
Quarterback, he was the quarterback at Oklahoma, a highly touted quarterback at Oklahoma. Kind of the guy who was tabbed as the savior of the program. A restoration to previous quarterbacks like Sam Bradford, like Jalen Hurts, like Kyler Murray, like Baker Mayfield. Didn't actually turn out that way. They were bad last year. And, of course, to Jackson Arnold's defense, he wasn't the reason they were bad, but he wasn't a reason in which they were good.
Yeah, and just to get my whole college football soap opera together, Jackson Arnold was the reason why Dylan Gabriel kind of got.
They probably didn't empty the bag to keep Dylan Gabriel.
They basically was like, if you want to stay, but
we like this kid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because this is all. That's the best thing about college football. It's just a soap opera. It's just the soaps, right? So we just got to keep up with the story. So the storyline is that he came, he replaced a good quarterback. There you go. And he replaced the quarterback, and now he was the quarterback, but it didn't necessarily work for him.
No, it did not.
And now he's back.
And now to continue the drama unfolding, he goes to Auburn. This is kind of his personal career reclamation project. Hugh Freeze, who needs to save his own job too, is relying on this player who is trying to save his own career and be able to advance it and tap into some of the promise that he had coming out of high school. One man needs the other, and the other one needs him too.
Mm-hmm.
And so far it's working. Auburn got a really big non-conference win at Baylor. That one's aging really well because Baylor seems to be scoring a bajillion points on everybody they play.
Which Dave Aranda hates.
But I love, which makes that incredibly ironic. They can't stop a nosebleed, but also nobody can stop them except for Auburn. Auburn's played really well. They've blown out 2 other non-conference opponents, and they're going into this game undefeated. This is a big resume-boosting win, if they can get it, in Norman for Auburn. But on the other side, too, the school that Jackson Arnold left behind, he was kind of shooed to the side because some fella named John Mateer, some long-haired, Venmo-loving fella from Pullman, Washington.
I forgot about that.
Decided to come to Oklahoma with his pal, his offensive coordinator, Ben Arbuckle. And Oklahoma's starting to put up points, and they're fun. Oklahoma has the things Jackson Arnold didn't have. A healthy offensive line, a healthy wide receiving core, help in the running back room. And they're thriving too. They got a big non-conference win at home against Michigan, who's still in the top 25.
Yeah, we'll get to vibe checks later, but the vibes are high in Norman because there's nothing more fun as a college fan base than to have a really fun quarterback. Obviously, we experienced that a lot last year. When you got somebody back there that can just make something out of nothing, he can make plays, do fun things on the field, that brings you a lot of joy as a fan base, especially when they're sort of trying to get back to the yesteryear and trying to recover some of the old tradition and history. They really, really want the Brent Venables things to work. They really want that to work because he's one of theirs. They really want it to work, and this is something that's going in that vein. So because as you said, if you would have talked about this game preseason, you'd been like, hey, man, this might be a loser leaves town match.
This was I had this game kind of circled as early season desperation bowl.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not.
It's not.
And that's what makes this game so intriguing.
That's why you play the games.
Despite all of the drama leading up to it, 2 coaches that came into the season on the hot seat, 1 quarterback looking for career redemption, the other one looking to prove it in the SEC. But now they're in a position where this game is a college football playoff resume game. Because I still don't think either of these teams will be playing in Atlanta in December to win the SEC championship game. But I do think at this point now, the destiny is in their hands to be able to make it to where they can maybe be that last SEC team in. And this is a game where if both of these teams end up being 9-3 or 10-2, can look at this game to say, hey, we got the head-to-head over these guys. If there's one spot left and we're the 2 last SEC teams, we should be able to get it. There's actually some potential postseason implication riding on this game. And I wasn't 100% sure we would get there at the beginning of the season. That's what makes it so much better than just the drama that we are gifted with.
Huge winner early. Not going to give this my winner at the end of the show, but winner right here, Hugh Freeze's golf game.
Apparently it's giving him powers.
Because if he can win this game, he can look at everybody and say, see, told you.
You're going to wish I played more golf.
I'm going to play more golf next summer.
I'll play golf this week.
You can't stop me. What?
I'll play golf after this game at night.
So this is a big for Hugh Freeze's golf game. Maybe his caddy, his golf club, whoever gets the the trickle down from his economy when he walks in. So a lot of people might be paying attention to this.
Who's getting that economic boost from Hugh Freeze?
His country club. Industry. His country club is watching this with intent.
And they are on pins and needles because they have maybe the most to gain from anybody in this game. That's another added element of drama. So you have the Jackson Arnold revenge game. 2 coaches that are trying to get themselves further removed from that grill that we put on every Thursday. Mm-hmm. There's a lot on the line here. And before we get into anything else, fun John Mateer observation that I made. Okay. We've already said he's kind of that Johnny Manziel prototype where he just likes to run around. He likes to make plays. That man throws what I like to call the most Mario yippee passes I have ever seen in college football. That man will leave his feet and throw any type of throw, whether it's a good one or not. He will make some bad decisions all once he leaves his feet with the ball.
Again, that's why I think there's so part of the fun that is watching. Also because, and I think it's really interesting because you put him in the Johnny Manziel, obviously he's not that skilled or talented, but he's in that archetype of a character. Same thing with Pavia, right? He'll do some wild wacky, like he did it against us, threw the ball backwards out of bounds.
Or on the option where he fakes the pitch with his left hand, puts it in his right hand, runs, wall closes in on him, and then with that right hand, toss it back over. That ball changed hands multiple times, like a point guard on a crossover. Just whoop.
Can you pick 2 other coaches in the country who would hate that more than Clark Lee and Brent Venables? You just see like steam coming out of his. He's just sweating like, oh my God, I can't believe this is where I am. But we're winning.
How many told you so plays did John Mateer made to Brent Venables, where Brent Venables is steaming over a decision he made, but it somehow turned out okay, and he just has to give it to him. So that's what makes you you.
It's like a rom-com. The fun-loving quarterback comes into the life of the straight-laced defensive coordinator and teaches him how to enjoy football again.
That's right.
Teaches him the lighter side of football.
This would be a perfect Hallmark movie. A perfect. All you need is an element of Christmas, and it would be there today. They would be shooting that today. If you just had a little bit of Christmas in there, Hallmark would be all over this game. But one thing, too, another thing that we forget about Auburn, because remember the conversations we were having at the beginning of the season, right before the season started, where we have no idea who's calling the plays.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
We had no idea who the quarterback was going to be because we could just play anybody in this first game.
That's right. 3 quarterbacks, 3 play callers. They have a first down play caller, a third down play caller, Hugh Freeze. That's fun.
It sounded like they were just pulling our chain.
It's working. Whatever it was, it's working right now.
Yeah. And then we'll see after this game because we'll do the vibe checks later in the show at 8 o'clock to be exact. But the vibe for the loser, depending on how you lost, too. I'll steal a Jay Phillips line here. Tell me how you lost. A blowout either way is going to look really bad for either team. But if we have a really close game, obviously the winner's going to feel good because, again, I do believe this is a legitimate college football playoff resume bargaining chip that you can use later in the season, especially if the win ages well. Now, let's say Oklahoma wins. I think Auburn has a more likelihood of falling apart. But if they don't and they end up 8-4, 9-3, winner of this game, and if they are in that 10-2 area, 9-3 area, say, hey, this is a big win very early in the season. There's a lot riding on this game outside of just the newfound drama that we get from the transfer portal. This is drama we didn't get to talk about 20 years ago.
That's correct.
You didn't get anything like this.
That's what I'm saying. It just adds to the whole story, the whole character arcs of all these different players and coaches and all these different things that you have to follow. It's fun.
It's a whole lot of fun. So that one is going to be high on my list of things to watch. And, of course, you can watch. It's the 3:30 ABC game, so you can watch that leading up into South Carolina and Missouri and be able to watch a lot of that football game. It's certainly one we're going to keep tabs on. But we'll revisit South Carolina, Missouri. It's a massive game for the Gamecocks. And by request, we've already been asked what we need to see from both sides of the ball. So we'll revisit that and tell you the many fun ways for how you can watch this game on Saturday. All of that and a little bit more coming up for the early game morning meeting. We have some announcements, and we also have a continued breakdown of this big game between South Carolina and Missouri tomorrow night. So with that being said, hit it.
Good morning. Good morning. Repeat after me. Today will be an awesome day. Let's go. Good morning, great day. Today will be an awesome day. Good morning, great day. Today will be an awesome day.
Yes, it will, because it's Football Friday. How can you not have an awesome day on Football Friday? We'll start off, though, with some announcements, and I think we should start with the fun ways you can watch this game, right? You can obviously sit back in the comfort of your own home and watch the game. You can also go to O'Hara's starting at 7. There's a viewing party at O'Hara's in Lexington for South Carolina at Missouri. And if you're at that viewing party, you can get a chance to win tickets to the Clemson game. We'll have some folks walking around, taking information, getting yourself put in a drawing to possibly win tickets to the biggest game of the year every year here at Williams-Brice. So that's option 1. Option 2, if you're sitting at home, you don't feel like leaving, but you would like some company watching this game. The early game, myself, Preston Thorne, Jen Jensen, maybe making a guest appearance. That's the rumor. I saw it on the message board. So there'll be a Jen Jensen sighting, a cameo, and our friend Nick Harvey from Team WIS will be here as well. We will be on YouTube, going live, doing our own YouTube viewing party. We're bringing a whiteboard. We're breaking down the game. We are watching along with you.
That's a good one. That's the analytic we really need.
How many steps does Preston
like
Thorne
it.
take
like it.
while watching this game? So if you're not already, go to YouTube and subscribe at The Game TV Radio, and you'll see us in our new podcasting studio. It's so pretty. It's so nice. And we get to break that bad boy out tomorrow night and watch the game with us. So it's going to be fun. Watch along, comment. We'll answer your comments. We'll have everything pulled up, and we'll be getting to watch this game along with you tomorrow night. Other announcements, too. A couple former Gamecocks advance in the WNBA playoffs. Asia Wilson only did it by scoring 38 points.
Duh.
And they needed all 38 because they beat Seattle by 1 to advance to the semifinals of the WNBA. And Aaliyah Boston, who needs Caitlin Clark? Aaliyah Boston has a big game. They beat Atlanta, and now Indiana, led by Aaliyah Boston, will be in the semifinals.
And I tell you what, they are so down on their staff, like as far as injuries are concerned and players who are out. So for them to still be in this run, I'm impressed.
Oh, you know what is Bree Hall still on the roster? I know she had signed at some point.
Yeah, I think she is.
I think she might still be on the roster.
Yeah.
So Bree Hall is also out there.
Poor Breeze had to move around so much this year. From Indiana.
She's become a U-Haul All-American
to
quickly.
Golden State. Yeah, U-Haul All-American in just one basketball season.
Yep.
Having to move from Columbia, Indiana, Golden State, back to Indiana. She's getting the frequent flyer miles. That is for sure.
Yeah, but good for her.
Good for her.
Still
yeah.
getting to run, still getting to play.
Still getting to play, and her team still in the playoffs right now as they're getting to the semifinals of the WNBA playoffs. Was asked earlier if we could maybe retouch on some of what we need to see on both sides of the ball for South Carolina against Missouri. So we'll get to that, right? We'll start with South Carolina on offense. When the Gamecocks have the ball, what are the things that we really want to see from them, especially given their struggles the first 3 weeks of the year?
I'm not going to steal your thunder because this is your point. I want you to make this point again, and then I will jump on your back on this one.
Non-Nick Harbor pass catchers, stand up.
Yes.
You need it. Vanderbilt, admittedly, on last Saturday, Clark Lee told Cole Kublik that their biggest emphasis on offense was to make sure Nick Harbor's not beating them, right? They know what Lenore Sellers can do, and they had a plan to try to contain him in the pocket as much as possible, not let him make magic with his legs, but they did not want Nick Harbor to get loose. They saw the tape, what he did against Virginia Tech. They have seen the tape, what he did at the back end of last year, burning Missouri, burning Alabama. They know the type of playmaker Nick Harbor is in his with the ball in his hands. They even saw that end around that he had against South Carolina State, where it's a simple reverse play, and he took it 12 yards with ease. They knew the type of playmaker he is. So Vanderbilt, in terms of formulating their game plan, put in a lot of effort to bracket and make sure that Nick Harbor wasn't going to have a monster receiving day. Offensively, you just did not have enough other receivers be able to step up to help you finish drives. Another thing that I have written down here is finishing drives. Those will go hand in hand. If other receivers step up and take advantage of some advantageous matchups, Mazio Bennett is listed as probable. If he plays in the game on Saturday, he needs to have a big game. It's a lot to ask of a freshman who has reclassified, who should be a senior in high school, but Donovan Murph needs to be able to be a viable option in the passing game. Brady Hunt on tight end leakouts, Maurice Brown, Jordan Dingle, you need to be options. Other pass catchers that are not named Nick Harbor need to step up and have big games to at least give your offense a chance to finish drives.
I think that's the biggest point, and you made it earlier in the 6 o'clock. You can go back and listen to that. But that, to me, when you said that click made something click, because all preseason we heard about the wide receiver room, how much depth is in the room. They're competing. We don't know who's going to get the ball. It might be this guy, it might be this guy. Well, the time is now for them to step up and be a part of the game plan, because we talked about from last week or last year's game how many different players played huge roles, whether it was Nick, Brady, Gage Larverdin, Josh Simon, Jared Brown. All of those dudes had awesome, great games that stretched the field. Delvon Campbell with the arguably the biggest catches.
Had like 80 yards on like 2 or 3 catches.
So all of those, so it was an ensemble cast. Everybody had to step up, and that's what this has to be this week, especially because this is what we were sold in the preseason, that the wide receiver room was going to be the strength of the offense.
This is a massive prove-it game for the wide receiving core. A major prove-it game. Because if your offensive line's not holding up and you can tell that it's going to be a struggle early, you're going to have to get the ball out quick then. You might have to only catch the ball a yard or 2 down the field, but make plays with it.
Which is a good point, because if you're just tuning in and you haven't been on the internet, congratulations. Good for you.
I'm envious.
Yeah, good for you. But also Lenora Sellers has been upgraded to probable on the availability report, from doubtful to probable. We don't know what that means. We're not reporting. I don't have any inside information. You don't have any inside information. But what we have seen is that for last night's report, he was upgraded from doubtful to probable.
What that means, we don't know.
We don't know.
But probable is better than questionable, and it's better than doubtful, and it's better than out. So there is room for a little bit of optimism there. When Missouri has the ball, what do we want to see from the South Carolina defense to make sure that they're not scoring a ton of points to get this thing out of reach?
Tackling. They got to resume tackling the way they were early in the season. We gave the numbers earlier. South Carolina has 14 missed tackles on the season. 10 of them came against Vanderbilt. 10 of them came against Vanderbilt. And you can take that one of 2 ways. Either you could say they had a bad game against Vanderbilt, they'll get back to form this week, or that was the start of a trend in SEC football. So it's a prove it as far as tackling is concerned for Clayton White and his defense.
You're really hoping it's the former, not the latter, because the latter could spell a lot of trouble in this game, because the running back for Missouri, Ahmad Hardy, is a monster after contact. If you took Ahmad Hardy's yard total this year on yards after contact alone, right? If we just said, okay, we will only count the yards that Ahmad Hardy picks up once a defender has made contact with him, and everything else before that doesn't count, he would still be 7th in the country in rushing yards. That is how good he has been. On average, he's picking up 5 additional yards after contact, meaning you can probably stuff the run at the line of scrimmage, but because he is so good after contact, he can still pick up 5 yards, make it 2nd and 5.
So, this is going to have to be old school football, the things your Pop Warner coach, run to the ball. We need 11 hats on the ball. We need everybody. We need gang tackling. All that stuff, type of stuff that they used to emphasize in football, you're going to need to re-emphasize that against Ahmad Hardy this week.
An underrated element, too, one thing I really want to see is make Bo Prabula put the ball in the air and make him see if he can get away with it. He got away with it a couple times against Kansas. As good as I think he is at times, he got away with some decisions that you probably won't get away with in the SEC. Make him learn some lessons the hard way tomorrow night. If you do that, you can force some turnovers. If you force some turnovers, you can force some shorter fields for your offense to have to travel, and then maybe you can convert more drives. That's a big way that your defense can help a struggling offense. Coming up next, it's time for class to be in session because there's one thing Missouri does on offense that gave the Gamecocks defense fits last year. A really good Gamecock defense that was loaded with NFL talent. There's one thing they do schematically, though, that could be a little tricky. Professor P is going to help us break that down next.
Football is back, and Underdog is the best place to make picks and win money all season long, and you can play right now in South Carolina. Playing on Underdog is easy. Just pick whether your favorite players will go higher or lower on stats like touchdowns, receiving yards, interceptions, and more. This week, I'm looking at Danny Dimes, Daniel Jones to go higher than 212.5 passing yards. That's Daniel Jones to go higher than 212.5 passing yards. Download the app today and sign up with promo code EARLYGAME to score $50 in bonus funds when you play their first $5. That's promo code EARLYGAME. Millions of fans have already won billions making picks on Underdog. Will you be next? Underdog. Make picks, win money. Must be 18 plus and present in South Carolina. Terms apply. See assets.underdogfantasy.com/web/play and get terms _DFS_.html for details. Concerned with your play? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit www.ncpgambling.org.
It's gotten a little busier this morning. Barrow Road at I-77, an accident. Also, I-26 westbound between I-77 and Two Notch Road. Also, Monticello Road near Frost Avenue, Piney Grove Road at I-26. 90 will be our high today, and looks like about 90 tomorrow. Mostly mix of clouds and sun for both of those days. We'll have more of a full sunshine kind of day on Sunday. 88 for the high. 68 currently on 107.5 The Game.
We've broken down South Carolina's defense and what we want to see on Saturday, tomorrow, actually, whenever these teams face off. There's one thing, though, that Missouri did last year against a really good Gamecock defense, loaded with NFL talent that gave them trouble. What was that? Well, it's time for Professor P to break that down.
It's the sport of kings, better than diamond rings. Football, Wildcat football, Wildcat football, Wildcat football.
All right, everybody, break out your computers. We're going to go. It's like a tab. All right, we're starting the game. We want to go either on offense. You can either run the ball or pass the ball. We're going to click run. Boop, you click run. Now, when you run, you're going to have a bunch of things open up for you. You're going to have your power run, or you're going to have your zone runs. You're going to click zone. Boop. Once you click zone runs, another tabs are going to open up. And when you open up that tab, you're going to have inside zone, outside zone. You're going to click outside zone. Boop. And there you will see a picture of Eli Drinkowitz and his offense. They run the outside zone. Specifically, when you really want to get into it, they run a version of the outside zone called a stretch. And the stretch play is this. It is again, when I talk about football, I tell you all, remember who's playing this game. We're not trying to make this thing too difficult. So if you're running a stretch, they are trying to stretch the line of scrimmage. They're trying to stretch your defense out. They're trying to make you cover the field horizontally. They're trying to stretch you out horizontally. And think about it like a rubber band. What happens to a rubber band when you stretch it too far? Pop.
Snap. You might hurt yourself.
Exactly. So what the goal is of a stretch running play is to stretch the defense horizontally enough so that at some point it snaps. And the running back and the snap is going to be the hole that is created by the offensive line. So you stretch the defense horizontally as wide as you can, and the running back's job is to find a spot in that rubber band, that hypothetical rubber band where it's popped, and now you can run the ball. Some words you might hear when you're hearing talking about the stretches, or you might hear front side. The front side of the stretch is the direction that the ball is going. So that's the front side of the play. Obviously, if there's a front side, what is there also?
A backside.
A backside. The backside of the stretch play is behind where the ball is going. So if everybody's going left, left is the front side. The backside is right. That is the plan. Now, defensively, obviously, you want to be as a rubber band. In order for it not to get stretched, everybody has to be moving at the same time in order for it not to be stress on the defense and there not to be holes. So the way that you stop this specific play is somebody has to be an anchor on the front side. That'd be one of your defensive ends, maybe Dylan Stewart, maybe Brian Thomas Jr. has to be an anchor on the front side so that they just can't continuously just keep stretching. Somebody has to put a stop to it. And then on the backside, those guys have to fill in the gaps that are being created on the backside. So you have to put an anchor on the front side. Some people would call contain, but I call it anchor because you just don't want to just keep running to the sideline. So somebody has to anchor down, and then by that anchor, you allow your other players to sort of fill in the gaps of a stretch play. So what you will see a lot, you saw a lot last year, you will see them run this play over and over again because it can look like the same play, except sometimes the stretch might hit, say, front side A gap. Sometimes the stretch might hit front side B gap. Sometimes the stretch play might start front side A and then actually end up backside B gap, and that's getting a little bit into 201. But you'll see that play early and often from Eli Drinkowitz and his offenses. That's a hallmark of his offenses. Any questions?
How much patience is required from a running back to be able to do this? And on the flip side of that, how much eye discipline will it still maintain or is still required for a defense to be able to not be over aggressive and try to cut off the outside in avoidance to allow a running back to go inside?
Great question, Elijah. Let's talk about that. So the running back and the linebacker are basically mirror positions. It's the same position on the other side of the ball. Both of them have to have the same skill set in order to make the play work or in order to stop the play. So let's talk about on our side. Fred J.R. Johnson did not have a great game against Vanderbilt because of all of the whoop-de-doo that Vanderbilt does, all of those different things. And it's not about him being athletic enough. It's about him being disciplined enough. So if he's playing middle linebacker and that stretch goes to the left and he goes flying left because he thinks that's where it's going, and then Ahmad Hardy cuts backside, that's the break that he's looking for. So you have to be aggressive, yes, but also, as you stated, you have to be disciplined playing your backside gaps, especially if the ball's going away from you. So that's something that you could pay attention to.
Something that's going to be big in this game. Why was it so successful for Missouri last year against a defense that we would say was experienced and disciplined and absurdly talented because of how many dudes on that defense were in the NFL? Because out of all the teams that Carolina played last year, it seemed like Missouri was the only one that ran the ball with that level of effectiveness.
It looked like there was a breakdown on the edges between whoever the defensive ends was on that side and whoever the defensive tackle was. They were getting upfield, right? But when they were getting upfield, that rubber band just pulls this way. And if the defense lineman is here, you create that stretch where it's going to pop right there in that middle. So there was too much space between those two defenders. And what they try and do with the stretch zone, especially if your line is not as aggressive or as talented as the defensive line, is I'll just use what you got. I'll just keep pushing you away. You want to go that way? Cool. Just keep going that way. Well, I'll just keep washing you. They call it getting washed down. You keep getting washed and washed and washed. And then the running back makes the lineman right. So the lineman just takes you where you want to go, and then the running back makes his decision off of you.
Something to watch for on Saturday. Outside of just being mesmerized with what Ahmad Hardy does, watch where he goes on that stretch play and where the linebackers for South Carolina are able to follow him. Before we take a break, we'll get a word from our man Ray, the innovator of the ROP offense. Ray, welcome back to the early game, my friend.
Hey, that was quite an honor to be the call of the day yesterday. I just want to let you know that. It really was. But I'll tell you guys, no doubt, Preston, the great nerd of the Ozarks, he can run a stretch offense. And I tell you, what they do to us or what we do to ourselves, and I'm glad you mentioned the defensive ends. This is one time where the defensive ends have really got to play that edge containment. Because a lot of times they'll run there at an angle and they'll bite, and when that running back bounces to the outside, there's nobody there. So they got to, you're right, they got to play, like your two old coaches used to say, Preston, got to play fundamentally sound defense.
Yeah, you have to play, and that's not sexy and that's not exciting. But that's the only thing that you can use to beat this type of team, because they're going to stress your defense as much as they can.
And one thing I want to say, just looking at it, from the lens of an accountant about our offensive team, if the case is that Sellers is ready to go and he's healthy, he's ready to go, that'd be great. But the way I look at it, and you guys, most people may have said we already defined who we are, but this is game 4, and if Sellers is healthy, I think we're starting the second quarter of the season, and if the offense sputters like they have in the previous games in game 4, can we just say who they are?
Sorry about that, Ray. Yeah, we're up against a break right now.
Okay.
So we got to bounce right here. But appreciate your call as always. We'll keep working on the ROP offense. So keep in touch on that front. And you're absolutely right. That's one thing to look for this Saturday is that stretch play. So appreciate Ray for calling as always. But we have other big games to talk about across the country. Which one has Preston's eye? Well, we'll discuss on Pick or Click coming up next. That stretch run, that outside zone is something that might have been keeping Clayton White up at night. But if tax issues were also bothering him, well, Ecton Law Firm can't help with the outside zone, but John Ecton and his team could help him, in theory, with tax issues. They could do the same thing for you too, right? Ecton Law Firm, him and his team, for a long time have been taking care of the issues that the pesky IRS maze can cause for yourself or your business. And you can get started to a worry-free life today by calling 803-771-9800. There, you can set up a free consultation. That's the best part. The consultation's free. Talk to John Ecton, talk to his team about what steps they can do to take care of whatever personal or business tax issues that you have. And it all starts with that consultation, 803-771-9800. And as always, you can hit them up at ectonlawfirm.com. That's ECTONlawfirm.com. Sometimes these games, these slates on college football Saturday just hypnotize me. And which one of these games will hypnotize Preston Thorne before the start of South Carolina and Missouri? Well, it's time for Pick or Click. And I think the best place to start is with a team that was involved in last week's Preston Thorne Game of the Week.
Now, to remind myself, if I pick, that means that's the game that I'm picking.
Yes.
Okay.
You are sticking to it. So I'll present you with game one that you just have in mind. Then I'll present you with game two. If you want to stay with game one, you say click, right? Because that second game, not worth it. So you're clicking like it is on a remote. Or if that second game is better than the game that you have in hand, you will then pick that one. And then we go on down the list. So you will start off with Syracuse at Clemson. Quote machine game of the week for sure. But I will present to you Arkansas at Memphis. Are you picking Arkansas at Memphis, or are you clicking and staying with Syracuse Clemson until further notice?
I'm clicking, staying with Syracuse Clemson. Something's gonna happen. Something's gonna happen.
Like,
we got Fran Brown. He doesn't take showers. Dabo went on his rant.
I love that's the disclaimer for Fran Brown. Does not take showers.
If he loses, he doesn't take. This is an all-time quote game. So I'm a click and stay with that one.
A plus for the bit right there. So you still have Syracuse at Clemson, Tulane at Ole Miss. It's intriguing.
That's intriguing.
It's a CFP game for Tulane.
I know some fan bases are starting to tune into the Tulane games now, right? Maybe Virginia Tech fans will be watching that a little bit more. Some
John
fans,
Summerall sweepstakes.
Maybe the Gator fans might be just taking a gander. But I'm going to pick. No, I'm going to click.
That's you switching the channel. And still keeping Syracuse at Clemson in the back of mind. Now I present to you Texas Tech at Utah.
You know, Utah is one of my Team Crush Tuesdays. I don't know enough about Texas Tech to really get me intrigued, except for the fact that they spent a bunch of money. But
they're fun.
Okay, yeah. No.
Still not doing it for you.
Still not that one.
All right. Michigan at Nebraska.
Now, this was something that I was interested when that guy was the OC, but he's not the OC anymore, so it's not quite as fun.
Takes the fun out of it.
Takes the fun out of the hate
watch it.
Takes the fun out of the hate watch.
But they're winning now.
Yeah, click.
Yeah, I don't think I care that they're winning.
Yeah, that's the thing. I cared about watching them before, not so much anymore.
So you still at Syracuse at Clemson?
Yeah, I'm still stuck there.
Auburn at Oklahoma.
Okay, pick.
All right, he's finally changed. That's our first channel change in like 10 different tries on this game.
That's because I've been telling everybody about John Mateer. I've peeped some highlights. Full disclosure, I have not watched a full game of him. All I've seen is the fun highlights, and there's a lot of them. So I want to see how he looks in a game, and how does that play out during the game. So I'm gonna check that out.
Experience the magic 8-ball nature of watching John Mateer play, because it could be different every time you shake that thing up.
Right, because I've only seen the highlights. Those are fun, but I'm sure there's a lot of lowlights because he's a wacky player.
Oh, his interception against Michigan was brutal. Oh, it was tough. Oh, that one was really tough. But he made some plays in that game, too. Again, magic 8-ball type player. So now you have Auburn at Oklahoma, Florida at Miami. Pick? Oh,
yeah, pick.
You want to see Billy coach for his job.
Billy's coaching for his job. Now, what we've seen that his teams do respond for him. They responded last year. Is the DJ Lagway hype real? Why was he in a boot in the preseason? We forgot that. Was his shoulder messed up?
Messed up?
We're just glossing over all of that. Maybe that's something that was actually real. I want to see what's going on with that.
And lastly, Illinois at Indiana.
Pick.
The run the ball special.
I can't wait to watch that game. I will be locked in on that one.
I'm bringing an iPad to have that one so we can second screen it here for the YouTube viewing party.
I will be watching that game for sure.
We are going to be keeping an eye on Bert during that game, using my Peacock subscription to its fullest. 2 hours down, 1 to go. Lou Bajak's going to join us at 8:30, talk some high school football. But coming up next, it's time to take a vibe check around the world of college football.
Farrow Road at I-77, still trying to get that earlier accident cleaned up. North Main at Wilkes Road. Also, you'll find a tie-up Piney Grove Road at I-26. And I-20 westbound between I-77 and Two Notch Road, an accident there. Forecast, it looks great for this weekend. 90 today and tomorrow, mix of clouds and sun. Mostly sunny for Sunday, 88 for the high, staying in the mid to upper 80s through the beginning of next week. So it all looks wonderful, and we are starting off the morning a little warmer than we have been, 67 on 107.5 The Game.
Hour number 3 of the early game starts right now on a Football Friday. I'm Elijah Campbell. He's Preston Thorne. She's Jen Jensen. It's time to look around the room as we get into week 4 of the college football season and do a little bit of a vibe check.
Yeah, I like how you say look around the room like, who's having a good time here?
Yeah, who's having fun? Who needs a drink? You, buddy. You need something to take the edge off because it's really bad right now. I'm afraid the South Carolina Gamecocks might be that buddy who might not be enjoying themselves, and we need to help them out a little bit.
We came to the party, we were ready, and it was like, oh, no, South Carolina doesn't look like they're having as much fun as we thought we was going to have.
What's wrong, buddy? Music choice? Drink selections? Or something here that you want? Can we get you anything? Yeah, an offense that scores more than 17 points in a game. Yeah, okay. Yeah, we'll see if we got it here somewhere. Let me check the cabinet. Let me text my roommate here. He might have something that...
Somebody make an offense run.
Yeah, right. Like, okay, we'll try. They have that at the gas station around the corner.
Yeah.
Like, then now you're texting, you're trying to find out. But that's the thing that's keeping this party from being a lot more fun than we thought was the offense.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, so if we're looking at vibes, we're going to go over vibes around the country, vibes around the SEC, because, I mean, it could be the same, but it could be different.
It could be. We can start off with some of the worst. Like, we'll go nationally. The worst in the country. I'd say South Carolina's the lowest in the SEC just because of what happened on Saturday. But if you look at some of the worst in the country, outside of, because there's two obvious ones, right? UCLA and Virginia Tech. The first 3 games were so bad that you could not justify keeping your coach for one more day.
However, I will present the vibes are now higher in Virginia Tech than maybe anywhere else across the country. Because who else, what do you love more than a coaching search? An early coaching search? Mm-hmm. Matter of fact, we got people following flights.
Which means you are so back.
So, I mean, it was not fun, but now I present maybe the vibes in Virginia Tech.
It is a tale of 2 breakups here. One, this person is so jaded with the idea of love that they almost don't care anymore.
Yes.
Right? I don't need the crying phase.
Yes.
I don't need the sitting at home with a tub of ice cream and watching rom-com phase. They don't care anymore.
Correct.
Right? That was UCLA. Virginia Tech just got out of a toxic relationship, and they're ready to hit the town, buddy. I am not crying over this for 1 second, not because I don't care, because I'm ready to get back out there.
That's right.
I have not slept in 2 days because I have been out until 4 a.m. and still went to work in the morning.
Yeah.
That is exactly what Virginia Tech is right now. They are rebounding so hard, you can confuse them with Dennis Rodman. That is exactly what type of game Virginia Tech is on.
All their goals are in front of them.
That's true. And you know what? They're hardworking people. They know, like they want this team and they want a coach and they're ready to fight for him.
Yeah, and I think that's the biggest difference, right? The folks of Los Angeles, not huge, especially UCLA, not huge college football fans.
What time are the Rams playing?
Exactly.
Yeah.
They want to do pro things, or they just want to do LA things. So then that's going to be a tough situation for whoever inherits it. So we got those 2 teams.
Yep.
All right. I would present, if we're taking those teams, I'd have to say, man, just to be honest, the vibes in South Carolina football as a whole, as a state, ugh.
Yeah, you put Clemson up there too.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Dabo had to do the thing again, and we're 3 games into the season.
Y'all not having fun at my party? I've been throwing parties for you for 10 years. You're not having fun now? Are you tired of having all of these great things?
I've thrown the best party in the country 2 years. For 2 years. I had 2 years where this is the best one in the country. You cannot find a better party. You're not having fun?
I'll go to another party.
Please. I did see
none of you will be invited.
I think there was one writer who said, yeah, that where he needs to go, Florida.
Oh,
yeah, like I said, I've already staked my position with the Bama Clemson collision course.
We have saved that.
Thank you.
So that if you're
Make sure
correct.
You clip it. Make sure you clip it.
That's good.
If both teams, neither teams make the CFP, just watch out.
Mm-hmm.
You know what my take on that one is? They're not leaving each other. And you stick to a relationship analogy. There's always one that just, he hangs out with his buddies. He talks about his girlfriend, wife, whatever, and it makes it sound miserable. But buddy, you ain't leaving.
Well, and I'll tell you,
You
what,
got it made.
again,
You ain't
there's
leaving.
60 million reasons why he, they would probably not like him to leave at least this year and 57 next year. So,
Yeah,
They-
they'll be there.
Yeah, they ain't breaking up.
So I position the state of South Carolina. You got any other bad vibes?
Oh, in terms of coach or teams that have the worst vibes that haven't fired their coach and will not fire their coach, Kansas State. You lost that game week 0 to Iowa State. A very close game. You hung around. You were there. That was a game that we looked at the beginning of the year, saying in the Big 12, where everybody is pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
You have a chance to still turn this thing around. Yet they love what they had at quarterback. They loved Avery Johnson so much that they didn't invite Will Howard back to their party. Let Will Howard walk to Ohio State. Will Howard won a national championship. And now Kansas State's in a spot that nobody wants to be in because that spot is hell. Since then, here is how Kansas State's season has gone. So they lost to Iowa State in Ireland. They come back to the United States, and they play North Dakota. Not North Dakota State, North Dakota, right? A sub-500 team in FCS last year. They won 38-35, and they need to score a touchdown in the last minute of that game to win 38-35. Early in the season, still time to turn it around. They get to host Army at home. Army, fresh off a loss to Tarleton State. Not FBS, Tarleton State. Basketball coached by Billy Gillespie, by the way. They lost that game, 24-21 to Army, in which I think they had, maybe 2 or 3 possessions the entire second half. A classic getting choked out game in the second half to Army. They lose that one at home. They go to Arizona, a team with maybe one of the worst vibes in the Big 12, a conference at the beginning of the year. Of course, we said everybody is pretty good, but there's a small asterisk there. And you could have said, maybe West Virginia and Arizona aren't, but we can let them hang out in this party anyway.
Vibes are high in West Virginia.
Because they just beat Pitt in the backyard brawl. But Kansas State goes to Arizona and loses 23-17. They are 1-3. They still have to go at Baylor. They still have to play TCU. They got to play at Kansas in a rivalry game where Kansas is solid. They still have to host Texas Tech. They have to go to Oklahoma State, but that's going to be an absolute drool fest between two bad teams. And then they have to go at Utah.
Yeah, what's really sucks about this for them is because Kansas State wins 8 to 9 games every year, and nobody cares.
Yeah.
Nobody talks about them. Nobody cares. They've been like a model of consistency the whole time. A program that maybe we could look at and model ourselves after because they've done some awesome things.
With some great highs. Some really good highs.
Really awesome. And that's a program I obviously, with Bill Snyder, admire what they've done as a program.
Greatest coaching job ever is turning the program the way he found it into a perennial contender in the 90s.
He's, a GOAT status for sure. But yeah, they're in a bad spot right now.
Yeah, they are in a horrific spot.
Tough for
the
those
vibes
folks
are
out there.
really bad over there. In terms of the best vibes, who in the country is feeling the best about themselves in terms of where they're at after 3 games? Because there's a lot of teams that we could put in that bad category. Buddy, 2 of them play each other on Saturday. That's Utah and Texas Tech.
Another one, Utah's back. Texas Tech spending money. They're in the game. They're not used to being in this type of game, so that's one. But when you said 2 of them play each other, I thought you were talking about Illinois and Indiana.
Ooh, yeah.
Vibes are high.
The vibes are high for Indiana. I think there's an asterisk, though, that fan base. Again, this is what you rob your fan base of when you don't play real games in non-conference. Kurt Signetti and the Hoosiers are FCS merchants.
Yes.
Congrats. You beat a Larry Birdless Indiana State team. Congrats. You beat Kennesaw State. Did they play Kennesaw State? I don't know. Who knows who they've played? Because they haven't played anybody, right? And they've just beaten up on teams. Yes, granted, you won the games the way you should. The vibes will be high if they beat Illinois. Illinois, the vibes are high because they took care of business in the non-conference games, which two of them not really impressive at all. But one of them was at Duke. Now, Duke's not going to contend for the CFP, but they have a really good quarterback, and it was a game that was a pretty relatively close point spread coming into the game. A game some people would have picked you to lose. And you went there and you handled your business. The vibes at Illinois, I'd say, are maybe a little higher than Indiana because I think their fan base knows maybe a little more about what they actually have. Indiana, still, a lot of transfers on this team. It's a new quarterback. They had to replace a lot of players from last year with some solid continuity. But we'll find out how high the vibes are in that one. That is an all-vibe bowl.
Okay. All-vibe bowl, also lesser of two evils bowl. What do I want to see happen at the end of this game? Do I want to see Illinois win this game to get Kirk Signetti to kind of shut up? Or do I want Illinois to lose and have them kind of come back down to earth with us? Because we were right there with us. That's what you want.
Yes.
And I know you have family ties, so I know that's one.
And I should want them to win.
Right, but I think I don't know. I don't know what I want. I don't know what I want out of this one.
I kind of want to. Well, I want Illinois because I want the underdog challenge points. 6.5 big ones.
There you go. There you go.
Nick and Team WIS have taken my throne, and I need to regain it. Right, I need Bert to do me a solid, just for this 1 week.
Yeah.
But it can also go downhill pretty quickly for Illinois because
we'd be remiss. I mean, we're still talking about vibes, but we definitely assisted in the Vandy vibes.
Oh, buddy. Oh, sky high right now. The highest of vibes right now with Vanderbilt. They have a revenge game this weekend. You're like, Elijah, they're playing Georgia State. What do you mean a revenge game? I'm old enough to remember when they went to the TED last year and got beat by Georgia State. It's a revenge game for them. Now, wouldn't it be? It would be a little depressing around here if they end up losing that game at home, but it would be kind of funny that Vanderbilt ends up winning all these ranked games but can't beat Georgia State.
That'd be pretty fun, actually. I would like that a lot.
That would be really funny. Don't see that one happening. They're 28.5-point favorites, but it is technically a revenge game for Vanderbilt. Something I didn't think I'd have to say about a ranked team having a revenge game against Georgia State. All Vibes Bowl, too. No, not All Vibes Bowl, but team that the vibes are maybe the highest in the country, one of Florida State.
And you know what? Good for them.
Good for them.
Good for them after the season that they had last year. Good for them. Good for them. I'm not mad at that.
Because they obviously beating Alabama is going to do it for you. And I know they played Texas A&M Commerce or Community College or whatever the C is supposed to stand for. I don't care. They still hung up 77 points and scored 11 touchdowns.
That's fun.
They're scoring a lot of touchdowns.
Oh, that's fun.
They have a fun offense. They run around the field all over the place. And they got Kent State at home this weekend. They should be able to beat them, too, by 50 points. They're in the top 10, and rightfully so. Clemson just got beat by Georgia Tech. The road looks a whole lot more clear for Florida State to get into the college football playoff than it did when the season started.
Who's more happy just dialing up plays, Gus or Chip?
Oh, that's a good question.
Yes. Okay,
this is where they thrive.
I can be a head coach, but I just want to dial up plays, man. Just let me call some ball plays.
Chip. I'd give Chip the advantage. I'd give him the advantage there. Now, don't look now. They're playing Kent State this week. Florida State is at Virginia next week. First weekend in October, they have Miami.
Ooh.
That is the ultimate all vibes bowl. We have not had vibes this high in that rivalry game since what? 2001, 2002?
It's been a while.
It's been a long time. That game will be in all vibes bowl. But there's no better way to really judge what the vibe of fan bases are or for teams than going on a message board and finding out. That's where the mayhem lies. We'll tell you where the message board mayhem was this week in college football, coming up next. The vibes are high, and they've never been higher than at Midstate Roofing right now. They've been high for nearly 30 years, those vibes are at Midstate, because they've been the proven leader in the roofing and waterproofing industry. Their proven history, again, 3 decades worth of proven history, is the perfect assurance that their professionals will offer the best advice, the best service, and the results that are fitted to the needs of your facility. It doesn't matter what that facility is. It could be high-rise, hospital, manufacturing to industrial. Midstate Roofing has been designing and installing bonded systems with a protective guarantee and will continue to give you that assurance and guarantee with some protection of the roof with a maintenance contract. So give them a call today, 803-356-1919, and you can even call after hours if it is a more urgent need. Another reason why Midstate Roofing has been a leader in this industry. 803-356-1919 or online at midstateroofing.com. And if you have a leak, let Midstate Roofing take a peek.
Nazareth Road near Longs Pond Road, we have a report of an accident there. 2 more to make you aware of: North Main Street at Wilkes Road and Two Notch Road at Clemson Road. Beautiful forecast on the way. Mix of clouds and sun today and tomorrow, 90. So we're looking for a high to be both days. 88 with sunshine on Sunday. Right now, 67 on 107.5 The Game.
I love message boards for a lot of reasons. A lot of it, not just the raw emotion after a win or after a loss, and not just the hot takery, but you know what? Sometimes they can be kind places to help other schools with coaching searches.
I told you, man, the vibes are never higher than coaching searches.
Now, we talked about how vibeless UCLA's coaching search will be. But Michigan State, a Michigan State fan on Spartan Tailgate.
Kind of forgot they even existed, which is sad.
Another one that I liked Michigan State's hire. Taking
Your
Oregon
boy from Oregon State?
Coach. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
I love the Coach Smith hire, but that one's taken a little bit of a long time to get going, and it might take another year or two. But they're at a place right now where they're growing a little apathetic about football. I guess their common football season phrase is, "Hey, Tom Izzo and the boys tip off in a month or two."
Yeah.
Right? Like that's what they have to look forward to. But on Spartan Tailgate, one person has a suggestion for UCLA. And I could give you, Preston Thorne, 100 guesses right now as to who is going to be suggested. And you will never get it. I want to start this off here. You know, as crazy as it sounds, if I'm UCLA, I'm on the phone right now offering the head coaching job to Snoop Dogg.
What?
I would support that team 100%.
That would be my favorite team in college football.
Okay, I'm listening.
He does stuff with youth football,
Yeah,
so
he has a very strong pipeline.
And that's exactly where he goes. He says the guy has been a fixture in the Los Angeles area youth football community for damn near 2 decades. His league has put 41 players into the NFL. He lives and dies football. Obviously, he would need to bring in strong coordinators to handle the X's and O's stuff. Duh. But I think he would be a huge boost to their recruiting, as well as media and fan interest in the program, which should help bring in NIL money. From the sound of it, they desperately need.
Yo, I would not have ever guessed that for sure.
You would not have guessed
but
Snoop Dogg.
they get an A+ for backing up their opinion with some reasons and some facts, and that would be very, very interesting.
Snooper Ball.
Ooh, I like
Because
that.
it's like snooper markets and stuff, so maybe like Snooper Ball.
Snooper Ball.
The only issue is I believe Snoop has prior allegiances to USC.
And that is where, he is a Southern Cal.
He's a Southern
fan
Cal dude.
through and
So
through.
I believe that is the slight hiccup in that.
But does that make it different? Look at Beamer with Virginia Tech and Carolina.
So I think it's like because it's in the city. So I think it's like either you choose one or the other with those. I think, but hey, listen, that opportunity may only come around, and
he might need a paycheck.
You might could change your hat.
I mean,
and look at Snoop's career trajectory. Who would have ever thought he would end up here? So
he
cannot limit
he could
him.
Get Martha Stewart involved in as far as the uniforms,
the nutritional program.
The nutritional program.
Can't limit Snoop. Who knows? That's a wild. That's what you're supposed to use the message boards for.
We do have in our home a Snoop Dogg and Martha Stewart cookbook that was responsible for the birthday cake I had this year.
Well, there you go.
And who would have ever thought
Nice.
that he would have created such wonderful...
Do you have the Christmas decoration? What was it? Is it Snoop on a stoop or something?
Oh, my God.
Like it's
I need
Elf on a shelf.
I need
There's
it.
something like that, Elf on a Shelf, but it's Snoop.
Snoop on a stoop. I have not
Something
seen
like that.
but I know I need it.
Correct.
Now that you have brought it into my consciousness, I know that I need it.
I'm sorry, and I'm talking sports, but he's just the way he has evolved. I mean, like he'll go to his grandkids' birthday parties dressed in a costume so that he can be there. He'll be a character and entertain people just so he can be there, because otherwise, the parents are like, oh, dude, and mauling him, but he still wants to be a part of the kids' lives. Like, just a cool dude.
Yeah.
Lovable human being.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, his Q rating is very high. Like Snoop, Willie Nelson, come on, man. These are greats.
If he
also have
there's also something else in common.
Have something in common.
They have shared interests.
Yes, they do. They're farming.
There you go.
Yes, they're big into agriculture.
Yes.
Very well-rounded.
All natural.
individuals. Yes,
Correct. Yes.
exactly. And UCLA can bring, and you know what? Maybe that's a recruiting pitch too. You never know. But if that ever happened, which it won't, but I would be a fan on day one. It would be an incredibly stupid hire, a snoopid hire, if you will. But I would watch every game. I'm sorry. I'd watch every UCLA game just for that. I'm staying up. Even if they're playing it like on a weeknight, I'm staying up to watch that. Another fun one. This is from Clemson 24/7.
Oh, okay. I'm in.
Now, we heard Dabo Sweeney's rant. We heard, hey, if you're tired of winning, I'll go somewhere else. Here's an interesting post here. I think this is the type of person he's talking to. Because there's an original post here that says, I think this game is probably going to be the most crucial of any on the schedule, and one could debate the most crucial for Dabo's career going forward. And the comment goes, that last part, there is no precedence for winning at this point. Again, he says no precedent for winning at this point. Team reminds me of the Jaguars. Change coaches all you want. The players have learned how to lose, expect to lose, and feel comfortable losing. Culture seems to be the common denominator. They were in the college football playoff last year. Yes, you backdoored your way in there. Yes, you can thank Mario Cristobal, and you should still be sending him gift baskets for allowing them to play in the ACC title game. But you were still in the college football playoff.
And that's the whole problem with this, because Dabo's rant is aimed at somebody like that, whereas there are fans who have legit concerns, but they're not saying that.
They're not saying that, right? They're very aware, right? They were old enough to remember 2016. Old enough to remember, was it 2018?
Yes. That did happen.
2019?
Those did happen. So Dabo gets on there and he gives his rant towards the guy that's like that, or the person or the bot or whatever it is. And that's not – their fans have legit concerns, but they're not saying that.
Right.
That's good, though. There's no precedent for winning here.
Yeah, really. Yeah, just totally ignoring everything else in that program.
Right.
That is what we just witnessed here with the Michigan State post, in that post, the duality of the message board. And that's why we do this segment twice a week.
Yeah, because you have to have it. We also had two of the things that didn't pop up on message boards, but we do have two flight tracking. We started flight tracking season early this year. And don't hold your breath, but there was a jet that went from Blacksburg, Virginia to Columbia, South Carolina.
And the Virginia Tech fans are saying, make of that what you will. And if you tell me to make of that what I will make nothing. Absolutely nothing.
Also, our favorite.
Oh, this takes
the
the cake.
favorite one, flight tracking information. There was a flight that went from Dallas to Gainesville. And somebody said, Rhett Lashley, SMU, only to find out it was a commercial flight.
Oh, no.
It might have Rhett Lashley's family members on it. There might be a cousin who's doing the negotiating.
I do think there needs to be something where if a flight is coming from, like, Virginia Tech, that we have to have, like, a protected airspace. They cannot land.
Yeah, you don't land.
No fly zone.
No fly zone.
No fly zone over here. I like it.
Oh, man, that's message board mayhem. Always delivers. Lou Bajak always delivers. Another big night at high school football here in the state of South Carolina. What are the games to watch? Lou's going to let us know. Coming up next. Hiring Snoop Dogg to be the head coach of a Big Ten football program, maybe not the best decision. But what is a really good decision is if you having a leak in your home, let Midstate Roofing take a peek, because for nearly 30 years, Midstate Roofing has been a great idea for those who need roofing and waterproofing assistance. Their professionals for those 3 decades have been providing that proper advice, service, and most importantly, results to the needs of your facility, however specific they may be. From high-rise to hospitals, manufacturing to industrial, Midstate Roofing has been designing and installing bonded systems that give you that protective guarantee, keeping your home or your operation dry and running long into the future, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And you can always protect that roof with a maintenance contract. Give them a call today, 803-356-1919. You can always hit them up at midstateroofing.com. And remember, if you have a leak, let Midstate Roofing take a peek.
Broad River Road at Piney Grove Road, a report of an accident there. I-20 eastbound, if you're just before Broad River Road, the left lane is currently blocked, so stay right approaching that area. Nazareth Road near Longspond Road, also North Main Street at Wilkes Road, and Two Notch at Clemson Road, also an accident. And we talked about it all morning. Forecast looking great. Mix of clouds and sun today and tomorrow, 90 both days, 88 and sunshine on Sunday, and we stay mid to upper 80s into next week. Maybe the next chance for some rain coming around Thursday. Currently, though, we are sitting at 67 on 107.5 The Game.
As we do every Friday, it's time to phone a friend. And our friend Lou Bajak from the State newspaper, at Lou at the State on Twitter. Again, if you don't follow him by now, it's a you problem, because that is where you get notified of all the happenings on a Friday night in South Carolina in the world of high school football. Lou, appreciate you joining us as always, but there's one place to start. And this is easily the game of the week. If you're a high school football fan in the state, if you're an alum from one of these schools, most importantly, if you're a Gamecock fan, South Point at AC Flora provides everything you could want from all involved parties.
Definitely, yeah. It's a huge game. 1 versus 4 in Class 4A region opener. You mentioned the Gamecock connection, Jazavian Currents, who's the quarterback / defensive back, number 1 prospect in the state for this year. And then you got Anthony Baxter, who was the Gamecocks' first commitment for the 2026 class. And then another player, Seth Tillman, who the Gamecocks are recruiting pretty hard, who I think has a chance to be really special. He's just a junior. And then AC Flora has plenty of weapons. They got Roper Wensky, Blake Batet. I mean, they got their receiving crew is, I think, maybe one of the best, if not the best in the state. They got four guys that can catch it and go. So all the makings of a good one tonight to start region play.
And with South Point, too, they're coming off a big win in a rivalry game against Northwestern, a game that I thought, if the total eclipses 25, that favors Northwestern. The total eclipse 25. But Jazavian Currents, again, like you mentioned, playing quarterback, was not supposed to play quarterback for this team this year, has stepped up and has been able to run that offense efficiently. They might have to win in a shootout because, as you mentioned, too, the weapons that AC Flora has and the quarterback in Roper Wensky, who has been putting up video game numbers so far this year, is a very intriguing storyline.
Yeah, I think so. And how will AC Flora's offensive line match up with South Point's defensive line? Like we mentioned, Seth Tillman is pretty massive, and AC Flora has been scoring a lot of points. And until last week, South Point's offense hasn't been putting up a lot of points. That maybe a little bit because of the schedule they played. They played some tough teams, which I think they're a little bit more tested than Flora. But I mean, Flora has the experience too. I think 30+ seniors, almost all their starters back from last year. Got a couple key additions. So yeah, I've had this one circled on and was hoping that we'd get to this point. And I know South Point lost their opener, but that was a tough one to huff. But I mean, these are two of the best teams in 4A, and it should be a good one tonight at Memorial Stadium.
Taking it down a couple of classifications, different classifications, but Fairfield Central at Newberry is kind of my number 2 game. Newberry still in the undefeated club. No visit from Ed Bird yet. Fairfield Central, a team that you got me onto at the beginning of the season, Lou, as a smaller school that can make a ton of noise. That one also looks like we can be in for a really good football game.
Yeah, and this rivalry goes back before it was Fairfield Central. They've been playing for a long time, and it's always a good one. I've had the chance to go to a couple of them, and tonight, Fairfield Central gets blown out by Ridgeview in the opener, but they've responded with three good games. They got two quarterbacks they play, and they've been able to. They beaten Louisville last week was a good win, and Newberry, averaging I think 49 points a game. I mentioned Gamecock commits. They got Jamel House, who at tight end. They line him at tight end. He blocks really well, and I think he might play some on defense. You might see him tonight. And what Kenton Caldwell's done. He's I think if we had a first half MVP, which we'll be putting out later this week, I think he's definitely one for MVP for the first half of the year. I think he's got 20 total touchdowns. He really runs that offense. Jameer Crooks, another good target for him, and it should be a fun one tonight.
Yeah, you mentioned Jamel House, and I think the way you described him got Preston's ears perking up. A tight end who is a really good blocker and is playing on defense as well. I think we have a new favorite player for Preston.
Yeah, that's always intriguing. And just this game series, this is two communities. This is peak high school football right here. That'll be a good one if you're around. You want to check out for sure.
Yeah, you absolutely should. And another one in terms of great, not just great rivalries, but rivalry rewards. The winner of this game receiving the Battle of the Axe trophy. That's sick. That's between Westwood and Blythewood. Now, aside from the really cool trophy that you can get after this game, what is intriguing about both Westwood and Blythewood?
Well, I think we'll see how good Westwood is. They played early. They played Flora, and they got beat pretty good, but they've responded, and I like the way their offense. They got two good running backs in Howard and Rios, and they put a ton of points. I think there was most points they've scored in like 6 years last week against Airport. They got a lot of talent. They got a Duke commit, Jaden Boyd, who transferred in, who's pretty good on defense, a defensive back, but he returned a kickoff for a touchdown last week. He's really good on special teams. We'll see if they try to get him the ball on offense tonight. In Blythewood, good win last week. They win their opener over Nation Ford. Dropped a couple tough ones in a row, but I think James Veazey settling in a quarterback. They had a quarterback change at the beginning. They got a pretty good offensive line. Reed Colucci's one of the better offensive linemen in the area. So it's usually a low scoring type game, and I expect with the two defenses that we could see that tonight. So Westwood has a little momentum in the series. They won last year 7-0. So we'll see. But you see that in college football with the trophies and that. You don't see it too much in high school football. It's pretty cool. I've seen the trophy, and I've been to a couple of the games. It is a really cool thing, and you get to keep it for a year and have the bragging rights in Blythewood.
I'm sorry, did you say Westwood or did you say Lesswood? Go Bengals.
Wow.
Preston,
I didn't know. Somerville. Wow.
I have two high school allegiances. Somerville and Blythewood, so you already know where I stand on this one.
I get you.
Does that mean that if Blythewood wins, Preston Thorne gets to hold the axe?
Well, I don't know. Let's see. I might have to check with some sources on that.
We might have to pull some strings.
You might have to call up Coach Martin and see what you can do. Get a picture with it.
Might have to see if we can do something for that.
See, now we have stakes to this. Now there's something on the line here, which I'm even more intrigued by this game than I previously was. But for some, Blue Region play has started. It's ramping up for others. What region race, after the sample size we've gotten so far in the season, are you the most intrigued with in terms of it can go in any direction?
I think the one with is it 448? What the one with Gray, Gilbert, Midland Valley, North Augusta. I think that region, Aikens improved. I think just to see how I think you got 3 or 4 teams that could win it, and you got an underrated game tonight with Midland Valley and Gray Collegiate to start things off, and then Gray got North Augusta next week. So they're starting off strong, and I like to see how that plays out, and Gray's been tested early. I mean, they played James Island and Dutch Fork, 2 of their non-conference games. So the 1-2 record is a little deceiving. So in Midland Valley's had a couple good wins. They got a really good dynamic quarterback, so that should be fun. So that region race, I think, is going to be fun to see how it plays out.
Now, before we get you out of here, are you ready to kick Caleb Johnson out of the big ketchup bottle for good after what happened on Sunday against the Seahawks? Because that was atrocious.
Well, Mike Tomlin said he will not be on special teams for the foreseeable future, for the immediate future, not foreseeable, but for the immediate future. So that was a turning point in the game. That wasn't the reason they lost. That interception in the end zone by. Actually, talk about South Point. Darion Kendrick made that nice diving interception in the end zone. Those 2 plays were definitely the ones, and they need to bounce back this week because I don't know, the rumblings. I mean, the defense off has actually played awful. first two games, not typical Steeler defense. So see if they can get things turned around against the Patriots this week.
Especially with all the personnel they have on that defense. That was supposed to. That was supposed to be
you got all the All-Pros with Ramsey and all the signings they did in the offseason, and they gave T.J. Watt his new contract, and then to play like that, yeah, they need. And the rumblings, people want Terrell Austin gone, but we'll see. Hopefully they can turn around on Sunday.
Now, the good news is they have plenty of football left to play. That's Lou Bajek at Lou at the State. Follow him on Twitter because that's where we get a lot of our information on our Friday night high school football scoreboard show, which you should tune into at 7. And then we'll also talk to Lou as well, as we normally do if the games don't go too long. Lou, appreciate you as well, or as always, and look forward to talking to you again tonight.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Appreciate it.
Good stuff from Lou Bajak. He's a winner every single Friday. We'll give our winners for today's show and our winners for tomorrow's game. All that coming up next. Singletary. After Coach Dre originally brought us in, we did get a text on the Firehouse Subs text line that said Dr. Dre, recruiting coordinator for Snoop Dogg at UCLA. Who says no?
Listen, that's why whoever my first winner is, that message board mayhem message, because that is how you're supposed to use the message board. Use it for something that is silly, nonsensical, but maybe.
But backs it up.
But maybe.
Backs it up. Our dream hire at UCLA now is officially Snoop Dogg.
Mm-hmm.
SNOOPDOGG. Mm-hmm. We'll give our winners for today's show. Preston Thorne, your winner for today's show and your winner for tomorrow at Como.
Ooh, okay. Well, I'm going to give my winner to made-up trophies, because we talked about the Battle of the Axe in the Westwood-Blythewood thing. I was there at the beginning of that rivalry. Wasn't a thing. So it just got made up somewhere along the line, and now it has become a thing. And I'd say that in honor of the Mayor's Cup, which somehow we decided, oh, they're Columbia, we're Columbia, we'll just make up trophies. I'm no problem with it. Making up trophy, the Mayor's Cup, you are a winner for this game.
The Mayor's Cup would be my winner if the trophy wasn't ugly and generic.
Yeah, you said it's ugly and generic.
Like someone just Googled, what does a trophy look like? Oh, this looks good. Let's use it.
And the thing is, if it's ugly, we know it's ugly because nobody really shows it off.
Yeah, we own it. We have it. So I guess logistically, do we have to take the trophy with us, and then
the hope is to bring it back?
Hope we bring it back, or do you just leave it there? Because I'm pretty sure last year there was a little bit of video of us putting in the trophy in the case and walking away with it or something along those lines. I'd like to see where that goes. Obviously, any prediction based on whether or not 16 plays, I'm not going to give that prediction because I don't want to be on record giving that prediction. I will say this. Can I give another winner to the concussion protocol? Big time winner, because there was a time where there would not be any questions about whether he was playing. There wouldn't have been any systems in place.
Nope.
It would have just been, can you go? Can you read things? And we have made tremendous medical advancements in the field of brain health. And concussion protocol is the winner for me for this week.
It's going to have to be a winner because if Lenoris does play, really hope he's 1,000%. There is not a single doubt that there is no doubt, right? Because his health is the utmost importance here. If he is 100% cleared and good to go, then I'll feel better about him playing. Him being put as probable still doesn't make it put it past 50-50 for me if I think he plays. Because I'm not throwing away the element of gamesmanship, especially after what happened last year with the trickery that was pulled on Brady Cook's status going into the game. Head coaches have long memories. And Shane doesn't have to think back too far because that was less than a calendar year from when they played last.
Wow, that gives me another one. The availability report.
Yes.
I'm old enough to remember when we didn't have these things. It would just be pure speculation up until you seen somebody actually playing. And so availability reports have done a little bit, at least giving us an idea of what's going to happen.
Before I give my winner for tomorrow's game, my winner for today's show, Ray, once again, he invented the ROP offense yesterday. Today, he came up with a nickname for Eli Drinkwitz that I think I'm going to have to steal. Put on my ski mask and steal. The great nerd of the Ozarks.
Ray, big week for you this week.
Big week for Ray. Yeah, I mean, this was a prime time performance from Ray yesterday and today. But my winner for the game, and I put this when I submitted this to GamecockCentral.com for our staff picks, I picked Missouri 21-17. I think the defense does show some flaws in Missouri. I think they force a couple turnovers from Bo Pribula. I think Ahmad Hardy gets his, and that's where Missouri's points come from, is the ground game. But I think they'll force a few situations where it is 3rd and long. Bo Pribula has to put it in the air, and this weekend he doesn't get away with it, maybe like he got away with it a few times against Kansas. If Lenoris plays or doesn't play, right now the offense has shown us 17 points is what they do.
I was going to ask you, 17 feels like a very intentional number.
It is a very intentional number. This is a game you have to be better than that. Until the 2025 version of the South Carolina Gamecock offense shows me they can be better,
I got 17. And that's what they need to do to win because Missouri's going to score. You're not going to pitch a shutout in this game. Even if you do force a couple of interceptions from Bo Perbula or you force them into mistakes, they're still going to score. Because that is, at the end of the day, a good offense with a really good play caller and a lot of new toys that he loves to use, and a lot of different options they can go to on any given play. You got to be able to prove that you can outscore them, to be able to win this game. There's an element of that I still need to have proven in order to feel great about them winning the game. But I think they make it closer than a lot of people think. If you are into the whole gambling thing, they're definitely going to cover. I think this will be a pretty close game. That's all for us in the early game. We'll talk to you again on Monday morning. Tyler Head and the Extra Points next.